Coming at you guys with a little bit of a different type of video today, as in today's video, I'm going to be ranking the number 1 draft picks from 2010 to 2020. As much as I wanted to include the last 2 number 1 overall picks, it really wouldn't be fair because Henry Davis and Jackson Holliday haven't really gotten any chance to prove themselves up to this point. So let's get right into this, ranking the number 1 overall picks from 2010 to 2020. Getting started off at number 11, I have the number 1 overall pick from 2014 in Brady Aiken. Aiken was of course the number 1 overall pick out of high school by the Houston Astros. And since being selected, Aiken has not done much. He has never made it to the major leagues. In fact, he only has 3 years in the minor leagues. In those 3 years, he's posted a 5.18 ERA, so he's really never gotten into any sort of rhythm, and it's safe to say he's a pretty big bust up to this point. To be completely honest, I'm not even sure if he's still pitching in the minor leagues or not, but if I had to guess, he's never going to make the major leagues. So Aiken was a pretty big bust, and I have him last on today's list at number 11. Moving on to number 10, I have 2013's number 1 overall pick in Mark Appel. Appel was also drafted by the Houston Astros out of Stanford University. As all number 1 overall picks do, Appel dominated in college and looked like he had a very bright future in the major leagues. But unfortunately for Appel and the Astros, he never really panned out, as he has 7 career seasons in the minor leagues where he's posted a 5.51 ERA. Now, one positive here with Appel is the fact that he did make his major league debut this season with the National League champion Philadelphia Phillies, and he was in fact pretty effective. He pitched in 10 1/3 innings where he posted a 1.74 ERA. So while Appel has definitely not lived up to the pre-draft hype, it is good to see him make his major league debut and pitch pretty effective. But still, he's really not worth a number 1 overall pick, and I have him coming in at number 10. At number 9, I have the number 1 overall pick from 2016 in Mickey Moniak. Moniak was selected by the Phillies out of high school, and since then he has had 3 separate seasons in the big leagues. But between injuries and inconsistent play, he's only played in 66 games. In those 66 games, Moniak is a 157 hitter to go along with 4 home runs and a 486 OPS. He also has a negative 1.3 WAR. So one positive thing about Moniak up to this point is, like I said, the fact he's had 3 separate seasons in the big leagues, but he hasn't really done much, if anything, with his opportunities. But Moniak is still only 24 years old, so I think he's still going to get a few opportunities here and there. Moving on to number 8, I have 2020's number 1 overall pick in Spencer Torkelson. Torkelson, just a few years back, was picked by the Tigers out of Arizona State. Now this is a little bit unfair to Torkelson because he is still only 23 years old and he made his rookie debut this past season. Now he wasn't productive this year. He only hit 203 to go along with 8 home runs, and he also had a 604 OPS and a negative 1.3 WAR. So yes, he was really disappointing in his first full big league season, but like I said, he still has a lot of time to develop. He's only 23 years old and he could even become one of the best players on this list. I just couldn't rank him too high because of the limited experience he has and the disappointment he was this year. At number 7, I have 2017's number 1 pick in Royce Lewis. Lewis was drafted number 1 overall out of high school by the Minnesota Twins, and since then he has dealt with his fair share of injuries. In fact, he's suffered 2 separate ACL injuries that have each resulted in season-ending surgeries. But with all the injuries, Lewis has still made his major league debut, as he has 12 career games played in which he's hit 300 to go along with 2 home runs and an 867 OPS. I know it's an extremely small sample size, but the promise that Lewis has shown up to this point in the minor leagues and of course in the small sample size in the big leagues, I think if he's fully healthy, he has the potential to be a really good major league player. Getting on to number 6, I have 2018's number 1 overall pick in Casey Mize. Mize was selected by the Tigers out of Auburn University, and since then he's had 3 separate seasons in the big leagues. And in those 3 seasons, he's posted a 4.29 ERA to go along with 7.1 strikeouts per 9 innings and a 2.7 WAR. He hasn't been necessarily as effective as you would like a number 1 overall pick to be, but he's definitely not been a bust up to this point. In fact, he has shown a lot of promise and potential, and going forward in the long run, I think he's going to turn out to be a really good major league pitcher. At number 5, I have 2015's number 1 pick in Dansby Swanson. Swanson was actually selected by the Diamondbacks out of Vanderbilt University, and shortly after being drafted, he was traded over to the Braves, where he has put together a solid major league career up to this point. In 7 seasons, he is a career .255 hitter to go along with 102 home runs, a .738 OPS, and he also has a career 14.5 WAR. He made his first All-Star team and also won his first Gold Glove award this past season. And he came up big in the 2021 postseason as he was a big reason why the Braves ended up winning the World Series. Swanson appears to be in the middle of his prime right now, as his past 2 seasons have been his best, and going forward, maybe we haven't even seen the best of Swanson. He has a lot of talent and he's a great big league player. Moving on, at number 4, I have 2019's number 1 overall pick in Adley Rutschman. Rutschman was selected by the Orioles out of Oregon State, and in his rookie season this year, he dominated. He hit .254 to go along with 13 home runs, a 5.2 WAR, an .806 OPS, and he came second in the American League Rookie of the Year voting behind only Julio Rodriguez. Although he only has 113 career games played, he is clearly going to be a superstar. He's already one of the best catchers in baseball. He has a lot of power, and he is also really good defensively behind the plate. And I know a lot of people are probably going to disagree with this one. They're going to be saying that Dansby Swanson should be ranked ahead of Adley Rutschman. And my reasoning behind this ranking is that Adley Rutschman this year was better than Dansby Swanson has ever been throughout his career. Don't want to take anything away from Dansby Swanson, he's a great player like I said, but Adley Rutschman is already budding into a superstar and he's heading into year 2. Getting into the top 3, at number 3 I have 2011's number 1 overall pick in Garrett Cole. Cole was selected by the Pittsburgh Pirates out of UCLA, and since then he has dominated. In 10 Major League seasons, Cole has posted a 3.23 ERA and 10.5 strikeouts per 9 innings. He is also a 5-time All-Star and has a career 33.7 WAR. And one thing that I'm actually pretty surprised to learn is the fact that Garrett Cole up to this point has never won a Cy Young. But he's come very close on many different occasions, as he has 5 separate seasons in which he's finished top 5 in the Cy Young voting. So obviously, outside of a World Series ring, the only thing Cole is missing up to this point is the illustrious Cy Young Award. But nonetheless, he's been an amazing pitcher throughout his career, and the Pirates really hit the nail on the head with their number 1 pick back in 2011. Moving on, at number 2, I have 2012's number 1 pick in Carlos Correa. Correa was selected by the Astros while playing in Puerto Rico, and he has lived up to the hype, as in 8 career big league seasons, he's a .279 hitter to go along with 155 home runs and an .836 OPS. He won the 2015 Rookie of the Year award, has a career 39.5 WAR, and is also a 2-time All-Star. He's been one of the best two-way shortstops in baseball since making his debut back in 2015, and he was a big reason why the Astros won the World Series back in 2017. All in all, Correa is still one of the best players in baseball today. He did have a down season this year, but I think he's going to bounce back next year and remind everyone who he is. And finally, getting on to number 1, I have 2010's number 1 overall pick in Bryce Harper. Harper was selected by the Nationals out of Southern Nevada College. This one was really a no-brainer. I couldn't go anywhere else with this one. In 11 Major League seasons, Harper is a career .280 hitter and also has 285 home runs to go along with a .913 OPS. He was the 2012 National League Rookie of the Year at 19 years old, and since then he's also racked up 7 All-Star appearances and is a 2-time MVP. He also has a career 42.5 WAR and has seemingly got better ever since getting to Philadelphia. And if Harper didn't miss a chunk of games this year due to injury, I really wouldn't be surprised to see him come close to winning his 3rd career MVP. He is clearly one of the best players in all of baseball. He carried the Phillies this postseason to the World Series, and I have him coming in at number 1. Alright, so that's going to wrap today's video up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.